There's Greg. I heard Kathy. Eric, can you hear us? Ron McLennan, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Eric? Come on, Eric. It's 10 o'clock there. You've been up for hours. All right. Need Eric to check in. Boyd's on the phone. Rick and Scott are in the room, so we've got everybody. We just need Eric.
He might have logged in and then walked away from the computer.
Yeah.
He's unmuted. Kathy is muted. Greg, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Eric just muted himself.
Eric, you muted yourself. Tell us you can hear us.
Okay, there we go. Sorry,
Okay, I just want to make sure you're
I
there.
can hear you. Yes.
All right, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and call this to order at 8 o'clock. I just confirmed the roll call. Everybody's here. Ron, do you want to go ahead and do the established quorum and minutes?
All right, ready?
Yep.
We do have a quorum. Establish that fact. The meeting was properly noticed. Got quite an echo. Can you hear that?
Yes, I can hear the echo.
Do you have? Are you muted on both computers?
I'm muted.
Any better?
Not muted on this one. Yeah.
I think you solved it, Ron.
Okay, the meeting was properly noticed. And I'd like to go ahead and have a motion made to accept the November meeting minutes.
I make
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Okay,
Minutes are approved.
thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining. At least we've got more people here this time than we had at the budget meeting, so I'm glad to see we've got folks here. In the room here, we've got Tim, Alyssa, Gary, Rick, and I. Everybody else is remote. Just happy to say everything looked great up here at the property. Restaurant, we're going to have a report later into it. I was there last night. Restaurant is doing great. We had decent, group of people coming through throughout the night. So that seems to be coming along quite well. For anybody that hasn't been here, the general store looks great. We've got all kinds of Tamarron goods we'll talk about that that are in there for sale now. For the time being, they're selling beer, wine. They're even selling spirits, which I didn't know until I got there last night, all to go. So it's really a nice addition. I was talking to some people in the restaurant last night that were in from Oklahoma, and they just love everything about it. So it was good feedback. A lot of today's report is going to focus on, we're going to go through the budget relatively quickly since we've already gone through it. Tim has several items we're going to cover on the property report, so that'll take up a good chunk, and then we'll go through the remaining items. So to not delay this, why don't we get the financials on the screen? As soon as Gary finds the financials,
Well,
put on
I
the
had
screen.
got him up here.
Okay. Joe,
Yep.
it's your show.
Everybody hear me? Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine, Joe.
All right. So what we're looking at is the top portion of the balance sheet. What we're reporting on today is the full year 2020 year-end financial statements. it's a little too early in the year to report. We do have January 2021 done, but as I've commented on past reports at this time of the year, it's impossible to make much sense of 1 month of financial reports in the middle of the winter. So we report on the prior year's financial reports, and these will be posted on the website. If they're not already, they will be shortly after this meeting for reference, replacing the 2019 year-end reports that I believe are up there right now. So again, what we're looking at right now is the top half asset portion of the balance sheet. Not much to comment on there. Everything's pretty much in line. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit, Gary. All right, so account 132, accounts receivable. That's a big number. And the reason it is 4 times a year. It's a big number because it reflects the billing of the first quarter's assessments and collection of those. Collection of that money comes in and then that number decreases each month until it jumps back up again at the start of the next quarter. So that's why that looks like that. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit more, Gary. Fixed assets, account number 150. Just want to comment on that. We clarified a couple of things. This is all our common elements. Areas A through N are all of the common areas in the lodge. It's the room you're sitting in. It's the restaurant. It's the front desk, the lobby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the 3 units that the HOA owns, units 110, 114, 115. And then the value of those is shown on that line. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit more, Gary. Comment on account 220, accounts payable. This is items that we currently owe. That's a extra large number right now, and the reason for that is that is reflective of the $78,139 that is a disputed amount on our water and sewer bills that we've been withholding. I believe we reported on this in prior water and sewer contract negotiations reports at board meetings recently. And again, we're in negotiations with Elbert Creek Water Company, Glacier Club on that. And we are currently withholding a disputed amount for prior debt service. And that amount is about $78,000. So if you pull that out of there, then our accounts payable becomes more of a reasonable number. There it is right now. That's all I had to comment on the balance sheet. Gary, if you want to go to the next page, start the income statement. Yeah, okay, that looked a little, how do I get that? Okay. All right, so the top portion of this is our revenues. Top line is the assessment fees. You can see that's pretty much right on the money. These is the amounts that are billed directly to you, the owners. Maintenance revenue is a little short. There's going to be a repeating theme here throughout this report, and that's the COVID effect. COVID has caused mostly negative, actually 1 or 2 positive items on our financial reports, and so I'll point that out each time. Maintenance revenues, again, last March, April into May, we were pretty much shut down, had short staff. We weren't able to do anything except necessary maintenance. So there were a few things that either got deferred or just didn't get done. So we didn't spend the money on them. And that's what you're seeing right there, where we spent less than the budget. Account 412, commercial space rental. The actual is quite a bit below budget. This is because we had been taking the revenue for Unit 110, a unit that we rent to a private individual. This is one of the units that the HOA owns. And we had been taking, the plan was to put all that revenue directly into reserves. So mistakenly or otherwise, we were counting that in two places, here on revenue and also on the reserves contribution page, which I'll show you later on and show you where we're doing that. So our accountant talked to us about that, and we realized, well, we can't really do that. So take revenue in two places, as it were. So that's why that number is well below budget, and the 2021 budget reflects that. It's no longer the budget number is no longer anywhere near $11,200. It's down around $2,000. So transfer fees account for 20. This is reflective of increases in sales of units. I believe there's going to be I don't know if there's going to be a real estate report later, but last year was a banner year for unit sales, and we collect a transfer fee on each one of those sales. Over $11 million in Tamaron units was sold last year, a record by a pretty big number. So that's it on the income, the revenues. Gary, you want to scroll down a bit? Okay. Insurance, under budget on insurance. That's reflective of a price decrease that we got. Our insurance agent with American Family was able to make some adjustments, do some tweaking on our policies, and get us a better rate. So that was accomplished last year, and that's reflective of that number. Accounting is quite a bit below budget. This is the amount. This is the accounting services provided to us by Elliott Meadows. What happened during this year and that, and we've talked about this in past meetings, is Elisa Oliger, who is now our business manager, was working for Elliott Meadows and providing our bookkeeping services and banking and everything else that she does for us on a contract basis with Elliott Meadows. She now works for us, so her compensation and subsequently the fees that we pay Elliott Meadows now are greatly reduced, and so that's reflective of that. This number is reflective of that. Legal fees, 512. For the first time in a long time, we're way under budget on legal fees. Things have quieted down here at Tamaron from a standpoint of needing legal services. That's a good thing. So that number reflects that. Director's expense and annual meeting are both way under budget. That's the COVID effect. We had less travel, so the director's expense is lower, and we basically had a virtual annual meeting last year, so we didn't spend any of the money we normally do on the social events for the annual meeting. Hopefully this year we can get back to that. We had a little bit of a price increase from the company that handles our payroll. So you can see that there. Overall, our administrative expenses were well under budget. Go ahead and scroll down some more, Gary. Oh, not too far. There you go. Okay, we get into the 600 accounts, operations. Account 612, again, building maintenance. The COVID effect, it's below budget for the reasons I stated earlier. Snow removal was, the good news, bad news is we didn't get a whole lot of snow last winter. And so our snow removal costs were down a bit. Everything else on that page is pretty well in line. 640 fire sprinklers and extinguishers. This again this is a repeating thing. We've always expected the requirements by the fire department for testing of the fire sprinklers to be more arduous, to be more intensive, and they haven't been. We haven't had to do that, but we've been budgeting for it every year. And so again, once again, this year it's below budget because those requirements weren't imposed upon us. Go ahead and go to the next page, Gary. Lodge exterior maintenance. Tim may comment on this in his property report, but I believe this is well below budget because, well, the lodge is the newest area that had the exterior remodel, and so I believe we just didn't have as much work to do to touch it up this year as we might have thought we did. Let's see, 652 computer, copier, and office supplies is well over budget. That represents the purchase of a new system for managing our maintenance requests, the fixed system, and Tim can comment on that too. It's a new system that was put in place this year, and we had to make the initial purchase on the software. So looking at the bottom line for 600, again, we're quite a bit below budget on that line. Salaries, a little bit above budget. And again, I'll go back to the accounting deal where we saved some money on the accounting, but we hired Elisa Oliger, so her salary went into this. So that's why we bumped above the salary budget. Employee benefits, which is primarily our health insurance for our employees. And this is an opt-in thing. So we basically didn't have as many employees opt into it as we had originally thought we might have. And workers' compensation insurance, 632, is below budget. This fluctuates, and it's all at the whims of the carriers and the way they calculate our accident performance history. The fewer accidents you have, the lower your rate, and it varies year to year. And so we did better than we thought we were going to on that this year, last year, I should say. Utilities, water and sewer, almost right on budget. The satellite TV, electricity, for the first time in a long time, we nailed electricity this year. It's been such a hard target to hit when we budget, trying to figure out rate increases from La Plata Electric and usage. I think we've finally gotten ourselves squared away in terms of determining what electrical usages in the lodge belong to us and what belongs to Glacier because of the pool and fitness area. It took us a while to get that squared away because when the lodge was originally built, and it was built for one user, one company, Tameron and the resort, a lot of the electricity was intermingled and you didn't know where things were connected and what meters they were on. It took quite a while, but I think we've gotten that figured out. So hopefully we're going to be stable on electricity going forward. Everything else there looks pretty good. Gary, scroll down a bit. Okay, so I'll comment. Scroll back up, Gary, just a bit. Yeah, all right, right there. So what you can see here is you look at the bottom line and it's showing that net income or, net surplus versus deficit, 23,166, 75. That's pretty close considering all the variations we've had. Now this line's underneath it, memorandum only. This is a requirement by, what we've been doing in the past is we've been taking any surplus from a prior year and applying it as income on the next year's budget. And we've done that up until 2020. Last year, 2020, it was $120,000 on this operations budget. So it makes it look like we have $143,000 surplus for this year. And in effect, we did. But the real, per budget line is the 23,166. We tried to come up with a way to make this less confusing and more straightforward, and we believe we did that in 2021, the way we budgeted it. And you may have, if you've looked at the 2021 budget, you know that what we're doing now is we're taking any surpluses from a prior year, in other words, what we might have had as a surplus for 2020, and we're immediately putting that into reserves in January of 2021 or early in the next year, 2021. So what that's going to do is it's going to eliminate this last line that you're looking at there, and it's going to simplify things. It's also going to make our accountant happier because they really didn't like us doing that the way we were doing it. Okay, Gary, next page. Okay, this is our capital projects for the year 2020. The income at the top, the 400 assessment fees, this is the portion of this is the allocated portion of the total owner assessments that apply towards capital projects. Scroll down just a little bit, Gary. Right about there. Okay, good. So account 819, lodge landscape irrigation, it's a bit below budget, about half. We just didn't get it done. Again, it was a COVID thing. We moved that. We're going to be doing more of that and more extensive work on the landscape irrigation, reworking it and getting it more efficient, get the watering right so our lawns are all green and not brown some places and green other places. And that's all going. Hopefully, that's all going to happen in 2020. Account 823, the High Point pump issue. I'm going to let Tim report on that. I think what we did on that, and Tim can verify this when he does his report, is that we did a repair versus a replacement. No, sorry, that's the wrong line. Again, I'm going to let Tim report on that and what we did on that High Point pump. I'm not sure why that's so far below budget. The 824, the lodge back deck furniture, we did a repair versus a replacement on that. So we spent a whole lot less. That goes off. We're done with that one. 826, backflow preventers in High Point. We deferred that work to 2021. Again, probably somewhat of a COVID situation. The central tower doors, we decided not to do that. It was better to leave. We decided it was better to leave them the way they were and just maintain the wooden doors on the lodge central tower because they're aesthetically nice, and replacing them with the storefront glass doors would have looked more stark, I guess. Signage, much of that was deferred to this year. The area north of the lodge, this is the land swap area out there beyond the outside deck at the north end of the lodge where the old tee box used to be. We've got money in 2021 budget to do that, so hopefully that'll get done this this year. And then if you look down at the bottom of this page, go ahead and scroll down some more, Gary. Yeah, okay, right about there. So as you can see, the same thing is on the operations page, that memorandum only line. On this particular account, that actually moved, that actually helped to make us more of a net positive than a net negative on this account. But again, what we're going to do starting in 2021 is not have that carryover, have all that money. In this case, it was $75,000 on this capital side. Have all that money go directly into reserves, and then we'll spend the reserves to do the capital projects the following year. All right. Go ahead to the next page, Gary. Okay, and this is where our reserves are. If you look at account 441, you can see this is where we were also taking the revenue for Unit 110. Now it only shows up here, which is proper and in accordance with accounting principles. Interest 440, the top line there, it's below budget. This is reflective of rates. Interest rates have dropped. Our CD rates have dropped as our longer term CDs come up for renewal. We were getting anywhere from 2.25% to 2.75% a couple of years ago. Now those CDs, market rate on those CDs is now down below 1%. It's just a reflective of the money markets. So we're not making as much money on these reserves as we had hoped. And again, the memorandum only, the carryover, and all of that this will disappear again for 2021 and make this a more simple report. And then the last page is Service and Security Desk, formerly known as rental program or front desk. When we were budgeting last year, we decided to change the name of this account because it really does just fund what we all affectionately call the front desk. But we're calling it Service and Security Desk because front desk is a term that the mortgage business doesn't like. They think if you have a front desk, quote unquote, that you're running a condo hotel, and we don't want to be thought of as a condo hotel. So this is kind of a nod to that. Not much to report here. This account really bottom lined very well. You see 460, the all admin fees is well above budget. This is reflective of the increase in rental occupancy that we had this summer. This might be the sole positive effect of COVID. Our resort rentals business went through the roof last summer, and you all probably saw that with all of the guests that were on property throughout the summer. Count 473, we did have count 472, long-term rental admin fees. Conversely, long-term rentals are going down. There's fewer of them. This is reflective of people buying up units and then using them for themselves rather than renting them out. Maybe renting them more on a short-term basis if they do, rather than on a long-term basis, because they want to use the units themselves. And then 473 is lower because of a lower rental inventory. Again, people are buying units and using them as second homes rather than as rentals. And if you scroll down a little bit, Gary, let everybody have a peek at the rest of this page. Not much to get excited about there. It all looks pretty good. the bottom line is this, go ahead and scroll down just a little. Yeah, there you go, right there. And with the carryover from last year, the net on this budget was only $600 in the negative, which is pretty darn close. And that is the report. Any questions on that?
Joe, a couple of comments. You're going to cover 114, right? Yes. Okay. So when we remodel 114, it's going to be a rental. That'll go to the reserves.
You're Scott, I'm sorry, but that that technical issue we've got is I'm only catching about 60%, 70% of what you're saying.
I'll try again. The 114 that we're going to be renting,
Yes,
that will go to the line straight to the reserves as we're doing with 110.
correct.
Okay. The other thing is now that we're going to talk about the apparel. Since some of that revenue, I mean, since there's a piece of that apparel and Tamron stuff we're selling, I think we should have a line item for that.
I think we put that in the 2021 budget.
We did? Okay. Okay.
Yep. That's
Go
in
ahead.
that is in the 2021 budget.
Okay.
Okay. Then one other thing, the other thing I've got is everybody was speaking of the 2021 budget. Were there any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions?
Let me make one other comment. You asked about the real estate report. I texted Julie Glenn. We've got that $12,000 number in there for this year. Right now, there's 6 units under contract. She's got one coming on the market. It's a large one today, but that's all there's no inventory other than that one. So I don't know if that $12,000 is going to hold up, but just for everyone's information, there's not a whole lot of inventory up here these days.
Yeah, we know that, don't we?
And the prices are
Joe,
going up
just
high.
maybe a one-liner. We had a lot of money spent for like elevator repair and whatever. We also had contributions to our capital accounts. Can you say that our reserves are larger on December 31st of 2020 than they were a year ago when you make all the adjustments and all of we don't do the carryovers and whatever? Are we building reserves or did we have a small decrease last year?
Hey, Gary, go back to the previous page where the reserves report is. So, yeah, right there, Gary. So if you look at the if you look at this report, our budgeted amount for the reserves is $618,629. The actual $613,197. Yeah, the answer to your question is yes. We're last year we did not build reserves because we paid that large amount for the elevator project. You can see that 191,000 that came out of the 700,000. So we ended up with a net. So we dropped reserves last year due to the elevator project, and that was 2 years worth of elevator projects. So that's actually about a $400,000 hit. When you look at it in total over the 2 elevator projects, but we were still able to manage to keep our reserves above $500,000. Our budget for 2021, on the other hand, is finding that right now. Our budget for 2021, with a starting balance of 618,629, as you can see there, we're projecting to have 821,430 in reserves at the end of this year. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yes, that answers the question. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? Okay. So the only other item I have is relates to the 2021 budget. That budget was mailed out to all owners in December. Per the bylaws, the budget will be ratified by the owners of the HOA in the absence of a prescribed protest by taco owners. And this action will occur at the next meeting, which is this meeting. So I need to ask the question of the board: has there been, and of Elisa, has there been any communication from any owners protesting the budget? And if not, are there any owners at the meeting today that wish to protest the budget and have the necessary signatures by a percentage of owners to do that? And I would ask that question now. And I'm hearing no response. So assuming that there are no protests of the 2021 budget, it becomes automatically ratified at this meeting. And so that's the case. I'm done.
So do we need to have a motion to move the funds into the reserves, or that's just a, we've already indicated we're going
No,
to?
it's on the budget. So it's
Okay.
yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, as long as you're complying with, if you want to vary from what the budget tells us we need to do, then yeah, but
okay.
As long as we're complying with the budget as.
Okay. So we are going to move forward.
Joe, let me ask that again.
Just lost Eric.
Eric, we lost you.
Is that correct?
We didn't get that whole question, Eric. Can you ask it again?
Okay.
We use it as carryover income.
I'll make a motion.
No. Wait, hold on. Wait, Eric, hold on. In 2020, when we budgeted for 2020, and we used 2019 carryover as income for 2020. So that's you just saw that on that report.
Right.
Now, for 2021, we have budgeted that any 2020 carryover, or any 2020 surplus, I should say, will be automatically put into reserves early in 2021. That's on this budget that we just ratified.
Okay.
Okay, so we move forward. Architectural review.
Okay. We have 4 separate requests. I think this time it might be best to vote on them individually as we go through, and it'll simplify things.
Hang on 1 second, Rick. Joe, can you still hear us? Okay, because you were frozen there for a second. Joe, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine. The only problem I'm hearing, Gary, is whenever anybody who's in the room speaks, that's, Scott, Rick, Elisa, Tim, I don't know if it's the same as everybody else. I would think it is. I'm only hearing about 60-70% of what they're saying.
Well, since only 20% is worthwhile, doing pretty well.
All right, let's try again.
Okay. First one is unit 776, and it's for an exterior security camera. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we defer this until we establish a policy on exterior cameras.
Which we will be addressing in rules and regs in a few seconds.
So I make the motion for unit 776, we defer it.
Okay.
Till such times we establish policy
I'll
by the
second it.
board.
All in favor? Got a motion and a second. All in favor of deferring it? We're gonna defer it for 10 minutes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next one, unit 606. They just want to replace the windows across the front with windows that look exactly the same. So there'd be no problem with that. So, and I'll group that one with the next one, unit 823. They want to add some windows surrounding the fireplace, and they want to make an extrusion into the side of the building rather than through the roof for the fireplace. And owner understands adding windows, they take responsibility, and an extrusion through the side wall would be preferable than one through the roof. So I make a motion.
Is this
that
the
we-
second request, Ron, or is this the third request? I lost track.
There's,
It's the third.
this is the third.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So I make a motion that we approve the request for unit 606 windows and unit 823 windows and fireplace extrusion, because they're just like previous ones that have been approved.
Okay. Just quickly, you're good with all of this? Yes. Okay. All right. So I'll second the motion. Any,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and then
Pass.
the last one is unit 621, 622 up in High Point. This one is a little bit different. The owners have requested to install a gable, which we have them in High Point, in Gamble Oak and Pinecone. We have not had a gable in High Point previous.
Keeps cutting out.
The original construction in High Point units was a little bit different. So for a gable in High Point, it has to be tied, tied into the interior walls. The owner's doing a complete remodel, taking it down to the studs. So, they understand all that. And then the second part of that is they want to install new windows and sliding door in the back, which are 8 feet, current is 6 feet. And they want to adjust that and take it to 8 feet. So comments that I've heard on these prior is one suggestion that I was given was we might have a second structural engineer examine the plans for the gable, because it's never been done before up in High Point. It's different than the others. Then the other part for the back windows, this unit sits where it's up on the ledge, nobody's going to see it. So it wouldn't be a big deal. But if someone else comes along in another area that's visible, like from one of the golf holes, do we want to start that process where we change the height of the exterior doors on the back? So that's really the discussion that I was wanting out of the board there.
What's the rationale on changing the doors? I mean, what's the problem?
They want to let more light in. And that's the reason they're adding the gable and raising the height of the back to let more light into the unit.
Okay.
Some previous comments I've had from other people, they were okay with the change in the height of the doors. as long as the owner understood, they assume all responsibility.
Okay. Do you want to try turning the cameras off and see if that helps? Gary,
If we turn these cameras off, then we lose
the microphone.
the microphone, although we can put a microphone in. Problem earlier.
I don't know if you all can hear us. We're going to try to figure out a way to turn the cameras off so that we can get better bandwidth here.
Okay.
Yes,
Rick,
Scott,
Howie?
I can hear you, and that's a great idea. Standing by.
Rick, can you send me copies of what you got when you get a moment?
Yes, yes, we'll get that to you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Hey, Scott, if turning off the cameras helps the audio, that's going to be much better, because just seeing you guys there on camera in a small little square in one corner of the screen doesn't make much difference. But we're losing a lot of the audio, and I for one am not able to understand the full context of what is being said by either you or Rick.
Okay. We I've turned one camera off. What's this one here?
That is for this. That's on GoToMeeting.
Okay. And we've got an external microphone connected. Can you all hear us?
I can hear you now. We'll see how it goes.
Yep,
Yes, I
can hear you.
can hear you. That's better.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay,
So why don't you go back over that
Yeah.
one just to.
we'll go back up. It's unit 621, 622 up in High Point. And the owner is doing a complete remodel, taking everything down to the studs. What they want to do is add a gable end and also replace the back windows and doors with 8-foot tall doors and windows, increasing the size from the current 6-foot. The unit does sit up where no one would see the difference in the doors and the windows. Sits up on the ledge over the valley there in High Point. The only question that I wanted comment from the board is, do we want to allow a change from the 6-foot to the 8-foot? And then I had also had another suggestion that, being this is the first gable in High Point, that possibly we have a second structural engineer examine the plans. High Point was constructed slightly different in that to have a gable, you have to tie it into the interior walls. So the gables are different than from Pine Cone to Gamble Oak. And one other question that came up was the ice gathering from the gable. They are adding heat strips, and I had comments from Dave on that, and he said that was part of his suggestion, along with Tim, for the heat strips on there.
Rick, help me understand that last comment. The second opinion would relate to both the structure and to the heat tapes?
No, just to the structure.
What are your thoughts?
I like the idea of having an engineer look at the structural design.
Yeah.
Because that common wall that remains ours.
I apologize, but I'm not hearing any response at all.
I agree that we should have a second structural engineer review the design on our behalf.
Did you get that, Eric?
No, I'm not hearing it.
Okay, I just asked him what his thoughts were on the structural engineer, and he concurs that having a second structural engineer come out and look at it is probably a wise move. I tend to agree. I don't know that I necessarily have a problem with the doors, as long as, I mean, do you see any issue with them?
No.
I mean, again, I hate that we set a precedent, but then, you know, this is a backwards facing.
Yeah. Yeah. It will not be visible from down on the golf hole.
Okay. So, it's your motion there, brother.
Okay.
Figure out how to word it.
Okay. I make a motion that we just have a second structural engineer review the plans, and I guess we would just defer approval until such time as we get the report back from the.
When are they trying?
We'd approve it contingent upon.
Yeah, we would approve it contingent upon the review of the second structural engineer.
Yeah,
There are no objections to
Okay,
the
you guys
plans.
are,
We just want to make sure that we don't, there isn't something unforeseen to this point.
all right. Eric, could you hear that?
okay, you guys are still cutting out a lot. I'm getting pieces of this. But what I would suggest is that we actually add additionally to the second structural engineer that this is not a precedent. This is an experiment, so that in fact, we don't tie the board's hands going forward until we see and maybe see how this is a year late or 6 months from the time of the construction.
If you change connections, you'll lose everyone, won't you?
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you tweak your motion? Because I agree with Eric.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the request for the gable end and the change in the doors and windows, subject to review by a second structural engineer. And we are not setting precedent, but this is an experimental.
We're approving it based on the location
Based
of
on,
the property.
based on location of the property,
Right.
and any further.
Any similar requests will be
Yeah.
reviewed independently.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I second it since we jointly put it together.
Good work, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or discussions? We're all good? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That was hard.
Yeah, and that ends all the requests for art.
All right. Not all, because we got to come back and do one.
Yeah.
Ron,
At this time.
rules and regs.
Hello, you there?
Yep. Can you hear us? Go ahead. You're on rules and regs now.
Not a whole lot to report on. I think you're going to go over the camera issue shortly, so I'll say that for you. We've also been looking at the parking issues, doing some changes on the policy and possibly using some hang tags or stickers or whatever. It's still under review. Tim, do you have anything that we can add to this, or we'll just keep it as in action?
No, I'd like to defer this to the next meeting, Ron.
Okay, sounds good. But we are working on it, so we'll get some information out as soon as we can. And I think we sent one draft out
Here. Do you have
and didn't get a whole lot of feedback on that. So we'll revise that, make those changes, and then we'll keep moving forward.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. You want me to cover the camera policy then?
Sure.
Okay. Everybody knows we've talked about cameras before. Everything from Nest doorbell deals and everything else. So we've spent a bunch of time studying this issue. We've had lawyers look at it. There are privacy concerns and several other items that were brought up and discussed as part of this. So I'm going to read, because Gary can't display it, I'm going to read a proposed change or an amendment to the rules and regs, adding it to section 7.5. So security cameras. Owners may install one exterior security camera that is positioned directly and only at the entry door, are a dark color, battery powered, and a maximum size of 3 by 3 by 4. That's 3 inches by 3 inches by 4 inches. The camera must be placed in a location that is not visible from the surrounding area, as determined by Cameron's maintenance staff leadership. If residents install a camera that is not compliant with these conditions, notice of non-compliance will be sent via email with a requirement that the camera be removed within 48 hours. Maintenance staff will remove the camera if it is not removed within 48-hour period, and the owner will be fined $50. Staff will not be responsible for damage that may be caused by removal. Cameras that are removed by maintenance staff will be held for return to the owner for 7 days following removal. Owner is financially responsible for any damage to the exterior finish caused by installation or removal of the camera. So I'm going to ask for one tweak on this. I am not in favor of owners installing their own cameras because I don't think we can police it. And I don't think we'll get consistency of the install. So in my opinion, a request for a camera install should go to maintenance, and maintenance should handle the install, and obviously the owner would be charged for that install. That way we are taking responsibility for the install. We're making sure that it meets the terms and the requirements contained in this rules amendment. That's really the only thing I've got. So comments, questions from the board?
In my opinion, I would just prefer that they're on the inside, that we don't have anything on the outside, even though they're hidden. You can position the camera looking directly at your front door, which can accomplish the exact same thing.
I think what people are trying to solve for is seeing who's at their door, as well as getting a recording of anybody that comes to their property. So having it on the inside would not serve that purpose. At least that's my understanding of the request we've received.
Can you send those recent changes to me in writing?
Yeah, I'll have to tweak the
Copy
document.
that?
Yeah, I'll tweak it and send it over.
Okay, thank you. We're still having cutout issues on the audio.
All right, we're doing our best, guys.
Yeah, actually, I think when we turned off the cameras, I'm now getting a fair amount of feedback in addition to the dialogue breaking up. I don't know about anybody else.
Go back to the camera.
Try going back to cameras. And unplug this one.
Is there any way Gary you said Gary couldn't show that, what you just read, Scott. I frankly did not get enough of it to, if I did have a vote, make a decision on it. I think it would be really good if somehow you could get that up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll send it to him in email. We'll get it displayed.
Thank you. Yeah. I actually heard the dialogue, but I didn't hear the one part that you weren't comfortable with, Scott. I heard you say you wanted to tweak it, but then I lost you. So
okay, give me a sec. Let me find this thing and get it over to Gary.
This could take a while. Last email here.
I'll say, otherwise, does it make sense to take a break and go to a go-to meeting?
That might be a good idea.
You're gonna have to get that back out to everyone.
What's that?
Like, put the camera back on. See what it see.
Yeah.
The camera is on.
The only problem with that, Eric, is if it's a network situation there in the room with the internet connection, it's probably going to affect
Also,
GoToMeeting
guys,
the same way.
they've got them so micro focused.
Okay, we've got the camera back on. Are we still breaking up?
You gotta talk. It's the breaking up, Scott, is like you'll hear 5, 7 seconds, and then it'll drop out for 2 or 3, and then it'll come back. It's you got to go into a fairly lengthy, talk about something continuously for 20, 30 seconds, and then in order to know.
Same thing when we heard Eric and Joe talking.
Yeah.
Are we breaking up coming back to you guys?
Not at all.
Breaks up probably after about 30, 35 seconds.
What was that?
She's here in the building. Who is it? Melissa.
All right, I just sent you the rules and regs or the camera policy. Yeah, I don't think a GoToMeeting is going to solve this.
Issues as well. So it might be better if we ended.
Kathy, we couldn't hear you.
The same sign-in information.
It should be just Gary would just end the meeting and then restart it. So everything should be the same.
Oh, okay, all right. I had my quarter out here, but I need to put that in the machine.
Why don't we try that? Why don't you end it and restart it?
Okay.
We're going to end it and restart it.
So everybody who's, well, if they stay on there, no, this is going to end the meeting for everybody.
Yeah, you end it so it ends it for everybody, Gary.
Yeah. So everybody's going to have to log back on.
Correct.
Same information though, correct?
Same information. And you want to take a break? Take a 10-minute break?
Yeah, just make it a 5-minute break.
Yeah, by very nature of you turning it off, we have to.
We have to now. All right, we'll be back on shortly.
Okay, leaving now.
Yeah, all those names in black and white, huh, Greg?
That's right.
So you can hear us all right, I take it.
10-4.
So far.
Okay.
All right.
Much better.
Hey, if Eric's happy, we're good.
All right, so you want to get that document displayed?
Oh,
It's a long way to Florida, you know.
That's right.
Okay.
Hello?
wait a minute.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us? All right, can everybody hear us?
Hello?
Yep.
Okay.
10-4.
And
All right.
4.
Good and clear.
So I'm gonna let everybody can probably read this. I don't need to read it again. I'll give a few minutes, but just to be clear, what I am suggesting that we tweak in this document is residents installing their own camera. My suggestion is that maintenance be responsible for installation of cameras.
No.
So we will need to tweak this document. I've already talked to Tim about it. He agrees. I don't think allowing cameras to be installed without any formal oversight is a good idea. So I'd rather maintenance be in charge of installing them and there be a normal maintenance charge associated with that installation.
Don, I have one thought. Maintenance has keys. Can't we just, if we remove a camera, just put it inside the unit and be done with it? Why hold on to it for 7 days?
We can tweak that.
Yep.
And I think we're going to have to tweak parts of this regardless, because now we're requiring them, we're going to require that maintenance be in charge of adding and removing.
Yeah, they're going to be on site anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments to this policy?
I got a question. So the camera, can the camera be positioned, does the camera have to be positioned to point at the door or outward from the door? Or is there a difference?
I believe our intent was to have it.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, the way this reads is it has to be positioned to look down at the entry door. Now we can certainly.
Oh, okay, I got it. I see, directly and only at their entry door. Okay, sorry for the question. It's there. All right.
Yeah, we have privacy policy concerns that were pointed out by Christina. So we can't just have these things pointing all over the place.
Right. And I think it's important to point out when we get ready to put this at street level that people understand that legal had to go through and review this as well. So it's not a complicated issue, but one that certainly involves several different groups looking at it to make sure we're doing the best possible.
Right. Boyd, did you have a comment?
Yeah, the ones that are already in, are they grandfathered in, or how do you address that?
No, we are not going to grandfather anything in. We will go back and we only have one, don't we?
There's one unit that has 4 cameras.
Yeah. We're going to go back.
Yeah, you're going to have an issue. You're going to have an issue with one owner in Pinecone.
Well, we now have a policy.
Yeah.
Or we will here shortly. Okay. Any other comments?
Looks good.
Scott, it doesn't affect this language, but people will ask, I think, are we as a maintenance organization going to offer a type of camera that we prefer? Or are we simply going to let each owner buy their own and provide it to maintenance?
Eric,
Seems to me if we can standardize it, might smooth things up, everywhere.
There were suggested camera types. I am of the opinion that we should select something that we can all agree with.
So here's the type of camera that can be installed.
Subject to it obviously changing over time, because the camera types will change over time.
All right.
Okay. But yes.
All right. So maybe you want to say owner may install one exterior camera as approved by maintenance or by the maintenance department. That is position.
I will change this, and probably the thing we need to do is treat this like we treat a cable box. They need to request it through maintenance. We buy it. We install it.
Yeah.
And it's this.
I agree.
Yes.
Year, make, and model.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Keep it clean.
Okay, so I'm assuming we need a motion. So I'm going to make a motion. Oh, did you have a comment, Gary?
How is this going to affect the doorbell issue? Because the doorbells always face out.
We're not putting doorbell. We're not allowing doorbells.
We voted that down last time.
Okay.
All right, this is Steve. I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Around, does it have to be battery powered?
Yes.
Could it be hardwired?
There is no power that's running out to the exterior there. So no, we're requiring battery power.
Okay.
That came up when we talked about the Ring cameras, whatever they're called, because there's no doorbell installation. There's no wiring whatsoever. So, all right, so I'm going to make a motion that's subject to the changes specific to camera type being purchased by Tamron, installed by Tamron Maintenance, removed by Tamron Maintenance, that we will approve this proposed amendment to the rules to allow cameras.
I will second the motion.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. How long are we
Hey,
working
Scott?
on the policy?
2 years.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
Hey, Scott, I voted yes on that, but I am thinking, particularly if there are, and I think there are some that are one that's approved and probably a couple that are not approved, we might give people a little bit of latitude on that removal since they're not on property, just in terms of imposing that $50 fine.
Well, if we're installing them and removing them, I think we're going to have to tweak that language anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying for the folks that have one in place today that aren't going to be on property for the next 90 days, I don't want to be draconian about it.
No, that's fair, and that's not the intent.
Yeah.
We only got one unit we're dealing with, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, we have one approved. I think there are more.
Okay. Well, I haven't personally walked the entire property and looked at every unit, so I don't know. Okay.
Okay, so we go back to 776.
Okay. Yeah, we got to go back and approve 776.
okay, I make a motion that we approve the camera installation subject to the policy we just approved for unit 776.
I'll say. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did you get a second on that motion?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did. Okay.
Sorry, we are cutting out again. I
right.
vote yes.
776 is approved. We're going to move to water and sewer. Hope everybody can hear me. There's not a whole lot to report. We are continuing discussions. We actually met yesterday with the committee. We are getting some responses and dialogue back and forth between ECWC and Tamron. We're continuing to try to come to terms with them on a new water contract. So it's really all I have to share on water and sewer. Heather is on or not?
She is.
Okay. Heather? She was.
She's right
There she is. Okay. Heather, you're muted. Can you unmute her? Garbage. Heather, can you hear us?
There we go.
Heather? All right. She sent me her report.
She gave me some pictures.
You have the pictures?
I do.
Okay, Heather, one last try or I'll read your report. Okay. So Heather sent me her report. I'm going to read it now. So basically what she is, as Joe alluded to early, while, COVID has affected a lot of everything that we deal with, industry-wise, people working, where they're working, etc. The vacation rental industry has thrived during this period. The trend of driving to vacation rentals and staying in vacation rentals versus hotels is expected to be the trend for the next 5 years and will likely completely change where many people choose to stay thereafter. Full conversion of hotel folks to vacation vacation home renters. As we saw last year, we had a lot of traffic come through here and people are avoiding hotels. I can tell you personally, because I'm traveling for business, hotels are dead, they're empty. In 2020, despite being shut down for a couple of months, Tamron Vacation Rental saw a 62% increase in rental revenue as compared to the prior year. The rental program as a whole generated $195,810 in resort fees, of which $163,000 was paid to Glacier and $32,000 was retained by Taco to help offset the security desk staffing costs. Heather's company is currently working with individual owners in her management program to help elevate and refresh the condos. So what you're seeing on the screen there is some condo before and after pictures that Gary will scroll through. Heather is providing the guidance and purchase recommendations, and Taco is providing the labor. The changes are generally just cosmetic, but make a big visual difference to guests when choosing to book their vacation rental online and will make their stay more enjoyable. The idea is that spending a little bit now will result in increased rental revenue for these owners, result in better guest reviews overall, and create repeat visitors. Here are a few things they are doing: painting over old wallpaper, scraping popcorn ceilings in the bathrooms, swapping out the old dated brass fixtures with oil rubbed bronze fixtures, updating bathroom lighting, replacing bedding and throw pillows, replacing shower curtains, adding a little decor to the bathrooms, and providing toaster ovens and crock pots to allow for more dine-in cooking options. But they are just getting started with some of these projects. Here are a couple of before and after photos that Gary's scrolling through now. If anybody is in the rental program and interested, I know Heather sent the information to me. They got a spreadsheet of the suggested changes and estimated costs associated with that. And that includes costs of install by Stuart. Sorry. I work for Stuart. I had a business faux pas. Tamron Maintenance will do the work. Do you want to add anything to that since you're doing the work?
No, we've completed 2 and we've got 2 more in queue and they're going well.
Okay. All right. Heather, did you ever join?
Scott, can you send me a copy of her report, please?
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Tim, it's your show.
Well, we're going to start with Elisa first.
Okay.
We wanted to talk about the retirement plan, just give you an update. We've got 8 employees participating. It's going really well. We have also started the Neighbors Vintium. You all probably got the email reminder yesterday that we would like everybody to enroll. We had 153 owners enrolled, and with that big push, hopefully we get a lot more. We've got the payment automation that for folks who want to pay online through that Vintium / Zego system, and that has worked well for those who've taken advantage. You can get to those links on the Taco website that Gary, I don't know if you're sharing that. No, but there's links on the Taco website to get to Pay Lease and Vintium. I've got about 38 people so far who've taken advantage of paying online. Payroll, we've started an automated clock in, clock out system for employees. They log in online here at the on-site. They clock in and clock out. It's made things a lot more automated and smooth, easier for Tim and I to track the payroll. And with the new Colorado sick leave accruing law, it's made that easier as well and more automated. PTO requests, things like that too. Did I miss anything, Tim?
Nope. Next technology we launched was the fixed work order system. Started that December 1. We have now processed over 600 work orders. It generates a report at the end of the month. Gary, can you pull up that billing report that I distribute to Gary and Elisa at the end of each month? It also allows us to keep track of all of our labor costs, parts costs, subcontractor costs, and a work order that if an owner has a question about a bill, we've got a PDF of the detail of the work order request, the completion notes, and the detail of all of the costs associated with that work order.
This is what you're looking for, right?
That's an example of the billing report.
Hang on one second. Okay.
And of course, associated with each work order, I can then create a detail of that work order that shows the work order, the completion notes, the labor costs, materials costs, subcontractor costs. It's been working great. The staff loves it because when a work order is made, we get a request, and even our nighttime shift, everybody that is in the maintenance staff has access to work orders as they are created. Okay, can we go to the next item, the sign at the entrance?
Sure we can. The sign options?
Yeah, in the budget for 2021, we included $9,000 to build a new stone sign in a design that is similar to the stone sign that is in front of the Glacier Fitness Center. We based that budget on the assumption that we could not move the sandstone and limestone sign that was at the end of the peninsula. We attempted to move the sign, and we were able to salvage and harvest that sign. So we had it temporarily sitting in the island where a new sign will be placed. We have the option to either install a sign similar to this, which you see on the screen, with Tameron, Sotheby's, and Base Camp Restaurant. Or
yeah, I'm not even getting half of what Tim's saying.
Yeah, it works.
Go to the next sign slide, Gary. Yeah.
So, Joe, can you hear me?
At least it says what option.
Yeah. Scroll up a little bit, Gary. Yeah. So I need some direction from the board on which sign we want to place in that island.
Okay, so it's this one.
It's either that one or, show them the one up top, Gary, that one with Tameron, Sotheby's, Base Camp Restaurant.
In the plain font.
Yeah.
No logo.
Ours will have, we'll put a logo. We can do whatever we want
No
on ours.
letters, do a logo.
We can do whatever we
I don't
want.
mind the Cameron logo. I don't think we want the logos for everything else.
Oh, that's right.
I think it looks horrible.
Okay, so regular font similar to that underneath our Tameron on the stone side.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd rather defer this. I want to go out and look at that.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd just like to look at it. I mean, obviously we have it in the budget if we decide we want to do something with it.
Gary, that's really all I needed to have up on the screen.
Okay.
Next item on my list was I identified an issue with the heat tape under Gamble Oak and Pinecone. Had an electrician go in and map out each circuit, identify deficiencies, put them all on protected breakers. We were in a life safety condition. We also added outlets for the time clocks for the irrigation system, so that now in the spring we flip breakers off rather than unplugging and plugging. So we have a stable and safe heat tape system that will be completed by the end of next week, I think.
Okay.
Went well. We approved in the 2021 budget pilot project to replace cast iron in one stack of the lodge. Ran up cost estimates, got plumbers and finish contractors to give us a price. The price for replacement and the logistics and relocating people was extremely difficult. Lots of issues with that project. Costs were going to approach $100,000. I found another solution to clean out the stack from the top and apply an epoxy coating. That price came in under $20,000. So I'm going to continue to move forward with that alternative on the stack that is in the laundry stack.
Okay.
Zero disruption to occupancy.
That's what I was just going to ask. Okay.
Yeah. Storage units, they're all rented. We did build 12 units on second floor. Gary got those rented out in 2 days. So
Okay, yeah.
that went well. The vehicles, we have vehicles, insurance, and put the Tamron logo on the doors. On the long-term capital budget, the next big spend is the roof on the lodge. After going through this first season of snow, we spend about $850 every time we have to knock off icicles. The ice melt is going to be something we have to focus on in that roof. And the roof materials escalated significantly over the COVID period. So I got to look hard at that long-term budget for the roof.
Okay.
That's all I got.
So my understanding is I just had to replace the roof in Wisconsin. And the only thing that really went up, has been going up, is the lumber.
Eric, you want to chime in on that?
I don't think it can hear us. Can you all hear us?
We're only getting, it's Kathy, we're only getting probably every 3 words and then you cut out and then you come back in.
Okay. Well,
we can email the updates.
I just got an email from Dave Harris, and he emailed me basically asking, he emailed me a second time asking if I had received his email because of the internet problems. So whatever's going on is property wide, and there's not a darn thing we can do about it. So we're just going to keep trudging along and hope it records well. All right, nothing else?
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
I just got an email that you sent 5 minutes ago, or at least it's timestamped 5 minutes ago, regarding water and sewer. So email is working. I think there's some issue with the relationship between the Zoom application and the internet connection there in the room. I think Gary, I think you need to get in touch with Ting Cedar and get this figured out. We haven't had this problem before. This is the first time I know of. So yeah, but I don't see this. Your explanation, Tim's report, I got about half of it. I don't know about anybody else.
Well, again, because of the connectivity issues, I think we just need to hope that this records properly, and if people want to go back and listen through it later, they can do so.
Yeah. My concern is that the board members that are online and need to vote on something aren't hearing enough of it to be able to do that.
Well, we only have one item that we have to vote on from here.
Okay. Well, we muddle through.
Yeah.
Tim, can you send me a copy of your notes, please?
Can you, why don't we, can you summarize your report and send it to Ron?
Absolutely.
Let's just do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we will get everything out in writing. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you?
Now, the interesting part is I can hear Ron very clearly. I can hear Jill very clearly. So I'm going to assume that you guys can hear me. I think Tim was saying that he wanted me to chime in on the roof experience, and I didn't hear yours, Scott, even the second time. I apologize, but I'm in the process of getting bids for a new roof on a commercial building here in Florida, and the lead times are now 10 weeks, and the price has gone up dramatically in the last 6 or 8 months, mostly because of supply chain issues.
Yeah, it's
availability of product is just a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's COVID related.
Yep.
We don't have it scheduled until 23 and 24.
Right. Yeah, it's not, and it is not scheduled for a couple of years as well. So hopefully those issues resolve themselves. And assuming everybody can hear me, I did see a comment about the way we're conducting this meeting, and I apologize, but with COVID, we can't do face-to-face. And we have long had a policy of recording these. So,
Yeah.
you know, we are at the mercy of the connectivity right now. And I apologize for this issue. There's nothing we can do about it. Can you pop up the bylaws?
Just that change.
Yeah. And I don't even know that we need to vote on it because it's already been, well, we probably should just formalize it, but. Okay. Joe, let me know if you hear all of this once I get through it. We are going to display a bylaw change that we already addressed in a previous meeting. Actually, I think it was done in September. We failed to formalize it at the November meeting. The bylaw changes that we have suggested be made are specific to how we vote and allow us to open up voting by electronic means. So you can read through these changes. If you just, you know, I'll give everybody a few minutes and we'll scroll down. The primary changes that we're making, though, are specific to the voting process and the allowance of the electronic means. So you want to slowly scroll down? I can't see mine. I'll pop this up, but I can read it. Okay, I'm going to read this. I don't know if you guys will hear it, but basically the changes are as follows. Votes for contested positions on the executive board shall be by secret ballot. That is not really a change, but voting affecting the common interest community may also be taken by secret ballot at the discretion of the executive board or upon a request of 20% of the owners who are presenting at a meeting if a quorum has been achieved. Secret ballot shall mean a voting process in which ballots are cast by way of paper ballot and not shown by ballots or by a neutral third party. They shall be counted, they shall be counted by a neutral third party or by a committee of volunteers as determined at the discretion of the executive board. And then if you go further down, it talks about what we've added, section 312. Voting by written ballot as described in section 311 shall specifically include voting by electronic means or by way of email. The executive board or designated agent may email a form of ballot to the last known email address of a record of the owner certified to vote, or the executive board may send an owner a link to an electronic voting site. The email ballot or electronic ballot shall comply with section 311 A through D as applicable. In order to ensure the ballots are secret, the owner will be directed to email or otherwise return the ballot response to the designated neutral third party. Electronic signatures, email signatures, or other affirmation of the owner in the return response email that they are the owner of the ballot response may be replied upon and may be counted as a valid ballot unless the ballot is otherwise rejected by the secretary or by the officer or agent authorized to tabulate the votes. And then the last piece we added was these recordings. The executive board shall record or cause to be recorded all meetings except the portion of the meeting that consists of executive sessions, and such recording shall be the association's official recording of that meeting. Any costs associated with the making of the recording and the purchase of the recording equipment shall be a common expense of the association. The association will make the auditory recording available upon request by an owner, and the owner will be billed for any reasonable costs associated with provisions of copying that recording. To the extent an owner desires to record all or a portion of the meeting with their own equipment, that owner's recordation must not interfere with the meeting in any manner, including causing noise or interference with an owner's view of board members. Meetings will not be delayed or stopped, and communications will not be repeated for purposes of accommodating one owner's recording of a meeting. This was something we talked about with Christina a year ago when we changed the voting process. She reminded me that we needed to fix this. This was really just saying we've got one official recording of the meeting. So, Joe, did you hear all that?
Hey, Scott. Yeah, I was going to comment on that. You were uninterrupted that whole thing. I don't know if anything changed, if Gary did something changed in the room or what, but
I think Tim was our jinx. He just left.
Tim left.
He showed
Right on,
his
Tim.
laptop.
anyway, I got it all. So I don't know what, yeah. Anyhow.
Okay.
Same here. Good job, Gary.
All right.
I
so
sat here well.
I'm going to invite comments, questions, anything like that about this policy or about this bylaw change. Okay, not hearing any. One of the.
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Sorry. Can we go back to the first paragraph? I'm just trying to think about mechanically how that works.
So mechanically, we haven't figured that out yet.
I'm gonna say further up where we've right. You know, where it was okay. So okay, down just a little now. So I'm starting there. Whoops, nope. Trying to figure out if we're in a meeting and we want to have a vote. Is it possible to vote at that meeting, or do we have to appoint ballot counters at a separate meeting and then come back and vote? I'm just trying to mechanically think through what these words say.
This is not in regards to voting at a meeting. This is for votes if we're going to make a change of documents, if we're going to ask for anything that the owners have to vote on. It's really just giving us the means to do it electronically. And to be brutally honest, it's because we spend $1,200, $1,500 every time we do a vote. So with technology the way it is, and Vintium, right? The new application we have, Vintium, gives us a means to do a vote electronically within that application. Whether we use that application, we use an email balloting system, we find an online software that can support it at this stage is unknown. We haven't done that research in full, but it just gives us the ability to do an electronic vote versus mailing all this silly paper out.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with the electronic portion. I can't see it right here on this screen, but I thought there was something there that seemed like it might end up causing us on a vote for in person, that it might actually become a barrier to getting the vote taken instead of an improvement. But I can't see it here. So, okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Are you taking owner comments?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, this was mailed out to everyone, so if you've got comments.
I have a question. This is Ron Hyman.
Yep.
Regarding the recording of the meetings. I thought we were posting this to the website, no cost involved in creating disc and mailing disc and so forth. It certainly shouldn't be a cost in today's electronic times, and it should be almost instantaneous with what time Gary might have available. Do you see a problem with that?
Not at all. We're going to continue to do things like we always have. But if somebody says, I want this on my thumb drive, and Gary's going to spend 30 minutes doing it, we're going to charge him.
Fully understand. Thank you for the response.
Yep, no problem.
And just to clarify, they're not on the website. They're on YouTube.
They're on YouTube, right.
I can always put links to them on the website, but for now they're on YouTube.
Okay. All right.
The link back to the website makes sense to me because that's a single portal that we need to reach as owners to get access to all the information that's available to us online.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the link. You want to stick it out there, that's fine here.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Ron. All right, got through that. So Fannie Freddie financing, I don't even know why we put this on here. I guess it's just an update. I don't have any way of knowing how many people have been able to take advantage of financing. I know it's talking to the realtors. They've indicated that has definitely helped. It's helped drive values. Again, the budget move we made that Joe alluded to, moving monies into reserves, is also something that helps us stay in compliance with what Fannie and Freddie require. You are technically required to put a certain percentage of money into reserves annually for the condo association to be approved. So that's one of the reasons why we made that change. So I sure hope if anybody was looking to refi that they've done it or are going to do it. Rates ticked up about about 3/8 in the last week or two. Will probably drop back down, but you can still get a pretty damn good rate on a 15-year mortgage right now. So if you're looking to refi.
Hey, Scott, in addition to that, and I guess it's just by accident, we had one owner who had some financial difficulties, was trying to get some financing, and we worked through, I had to write a letter and the whole thing. And this was for FHA financing, not Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, but FHA, which even has more stringent requirements. And I think we actually got past those with our.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Huh?
We didn't get past it.
We did not. Okay,
No.
I didn't get any feedback on that. All
No,
right.
I was asked to respond to some things, and I was asked by the lender to make statements in writing that were untrue, and I refused to make those statements in writing because I'm a mortgage guy and I'm not committing mortgage fraud.
Right. No doubt about that. Okay, so that deal did not go through then, huh?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, I was unaware. I hadn't gotten any feedback on it. I thought just no news is good news.
No, I probably should have let you know. I mean, we spent hours on that damn thing. So and you
I
did
know.
too. Lisa did. I did. I spoke to the lender half a dozen times. So we tried.
Yep. Okay.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
This is John Niebling.
Yeah, John.
Hey, did you guys, I didn't hear a vote on the bylaw changes. Doesn't the board need to vote on that?
Oh, yeah, thanks. I got caught up in the question of Erickson, got sidetracked. Thanks, John.
You bet.
All right. Everybody's seen the changes. You people have had a chance to comment. I make a motion that we move forward. I think we voted on this already, but we didn't have all the wording completed. But I make a motion that we move forward with the bylaws changes so that we can have electronic balloting in the future, subject to finding a way to obviously execute upon that if a vote is required in the future.
I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thanks again, John. Okay. Restaurant. Secretary on?
Brooke and Terry are not on. The only thing that I have is this that they gave me.
Okay. So Gary is slowly scrolling through the menu. As I think everybody is aware, Base Camp opens somewhere around the first week of January, second week of January. They do have a full bar. They've got great beer selection, wine selection, food to go, as I mentioned earlier on, grab and go items. They don't have produce yet, but they plan on starting to add produce and things like that to go. As I said, they've got wine, beer, spirits to go. I was told last night that the spirits are something that do have a possible expiration date. The state may stop us from being able to sell the bottles of vodka or whatever, but we'll continue to be able to sell beer and wine. They're hoping that the governor will extend that and we won't have a problem. But I mean, like I said, I was in there last night. I haven't heard a negative thing about the restaurant. Cody, I sat with Cody last night and he said he's eaten everything on the menu. It is, as I think everybody's aware, a plant-based restaurant. You know, everything I had last night was great. So far, so good.
Good.
Any questions or comments about the restaurant? Okay. All right. So I've invited Ann Dixon. I think everybody knows Ann. Where is Ann?
Just walked out.
All right. Well, just while we're waiting for Ann to come back in, everybody is aware, I know you've seen the newsletters. We've had Ann on retainer since shortly after she got off the board. She was on the board previously when she owned a unit here. I think her mom lived here. We put her under retainer to help us initially with our social media and doing posts to expand awareness of the property. We had her create a Facebook page. I think everybody, if you haven't been on that, Gary, maybe you can click on it at some point.
On the Facebook page?
Yeah.
Okay.
But another thing that we've had her start working on is in light of the fact that we were going to have a general store, and Gary's experimentation with doing some marketing pieces, we decided to formalize that process. So we now have shirts and coolers and all kinds of stuff available in the store. Proceeds of those benefit Tameron, and I mentioned earlier about the line item on the budget. Ultimately, that was the intent of it. Because, and Greg, you may want to chime in on this. There she is.
Sorry, I'm sorry. We got to take the unlucky seat.
Yeah, sorry. So Ann just walked back in. I'm going to ask maybe Greg and Ann to comment on the process. Now, one of the, with Ann under being a graphic designer and under contract with us, she is able to get access to all kinds of wholesale products and pricing, and also and Greg actually works for a company called Sanmar, who we've been purchasing some of this product from. So, Greg, or Ann, why don't you chime in and kind of talk about the process and the role that you play as both designer and what your company does specific to these items.
First of all, hello everybody. It's been a while since I've seen you or spoken to you, so thanks for having me here. I think the apparel in general, in conjunction with the newsletter and Facebook, helps bring a spirit of community to Tameron in a time when everybody's feeling a little isolated and apart. I think of the apparel and the Facebook community page and the newsletter is all ways to stay in touch and feel a camaraderie for Tameron. So I have a business in Durango of graphic design and advertising and promotional products. And Sanmar is a fabulous resource to get pretty much any kind of apparel that we want. And also things such as gym bags and grocery totes and all sorts of accessories as well. My idea behind the apparel is to provide a service to the owners that want something, and also provide things for renters that they may have forgotten, and that would be grocery totes, gym bags, windbreakers, fleece, and I'm open to other suggestions as well. Recently, Elisa had an owner that wanted some golf shirts and some fleece jackets, and that precipitated an order where the board got some, and we've got some for owners, and we have some for sale in the base camp, is my understanding. We have a local screen printer for screen printing jobs like the drawstring backpacks. And we have a local embroiderer. So both of these are Durango-based businesses, which allows us to get 1 or 2 or a dozen at a time, whereas if we were ordering online, we'd be looking at 100-piece minimums. So I placed an order through Sanmar, and like I said, we can get as many as 1 item. We just recently got a backpack that an owner requested. I get them screen printed or embroidered locally and then bring them here to Elisa, and they're billed through Taco. So I'm just the facilitator, really. I'm not, I don't sell them directly. And again, I'd like to think of this almost as a service. So if anyone wants something specific, or if they see a need for something specific, I'm happy to help. The Sanmar website is online, and you can shop for hours on that website. Fleece blankets, anything you might want.
Okay, so just so everyone's aware, we have some items here in the store. Again, to Ann's point, part of this was, you know, the golf shirts, or I forgot a sweatshirt. It's colder up here than I thought it was. So we've got an inventory, and we're trying to keep that inventory pretty limited in some pretty standard sizes. Most of this stuff can be, you know, ordered directly, and you know, Ann's able to combine you know, multiple orders. So if we do order something, if you decide you want to buy something, and we don't have it in stock, you know, ultimately we may bundle these orders up. It may take a week or two while we put the word out and see if anybody else is interested before we submit an order. But again, I encourage everybody to take a look at when they're up here. This is on the website, right? That's what you're showing?
Yeah, this is the merchandise page of the website.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a question. I'm looking at the displays that Gary's just putting up there, the shirts and the jackets and windbreakers and all that. I only see one picture where the logo seems to be on the shoulder. On the shirts and stuff, I suppose there's embroidery on there, but is it just so dark I can't see it, or what?
No, those are photos straight from the Sanmar website. On the Facebook Tehran Facebook owners group, they're photos of the actual apparel with the embroidery on it. So what's on the website right now is just the models modeling the apparel without the embroidery on it.
Okay, thanks.
Of course, we could take volunteers to model it here.
We might want to do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll start drawing straws.
Okay. The last thing I'll add, I know I mentioned this, but we do. I think we do like a, I don't know, 10% markup, something like that, and that enables us to you know, add money to the kitty, and hopefully over time we'll get to a point where we can continue to I mean, my goal would be to eliminate the front desk funding, or not eliminate it, but have it covered by these ancillary things that we're trying to bring to bear, such as the increased rental income and you know, the sale of these products and other things. So that was the idea behind it. I certainly encourage everybody to buy it, you know, buy something, support the community. All the staff has you know, fleece jackets, and the maintenance guys have Carhartt jackets that have the Tamron logo on it. So yeah, everything looks great. I've been really impressed by everything that we've done.
No, this
So
computer.
can you find the pictures on there?
What's that?
Can you?
No, this computer doesn't have my password in it yet for Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the Facebook page. As I said, we only have 103 owners, or 103 members, I should say. Obviously, they're all owners, with the exception of probably Ann and a few people that have maintenance, and some of the staff. So if you aren't a member, I would encourage you to join this, because you know, it's kind of fun. People are posting really neat pictures and talking about activities that they're doing up here. So again, it does bring a sense of community, and you know, I've kind of enjoyed having it. We've only had it for what, 6 months? Is that when we started it?
Something like that. And can I add a few things about the page?
Yeah.
A couple things about the current Facebook page. We've limited it to owners, and there's some questions when you join the group asking you your name, your email, and what unit you're in. I think some folks have invited friends, or maybe you know, cousins or nephews. If they don't answer those questions, I don't allow them in the group, and we can loosen those rules if we want to. But I think the idea was to keep it to owners, and certainly family of owners applies too. But if they don't identify themselves as family, I won't know their family, and then they're not allowed in. I hope that's clear. I've got some applications to join the group, but with no answers, I just ignore the application. The idea is for community and share photos and stories and history and news. We don't want anyone selling anything or promoting themselves or, you know, philosophies. So we keep it to owners.
Yeah, yeah. So we do police it, make sure comments are policed, you know, and there's a kind of disclaimer in the beginning, kind of to telling people that, hey, this isn't a place to come and gripe and get political and all that kind of stuff. So.
And that hasn't happened to date at all.
Okay.
It might be one of the few places where it hasn't.
Yeah, I just knocked on wood. I don't know if you saw that, but as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I said that out loud.
Yeah, we survived the whole election debacle and didn't have anything. So. All right. Any other questions or comments about that? Okay. Well, we don't have anything else on the agenda to cover. If there is any new business or anything anybody wants to bring up, now would be the time, because we're going to break, and I've got a hard stop at 11, so we're going to try to knock out an executive session here from 10 to 11.
Scott, I know this is Eric. Tim's report was really garbled from my position.
I asked you to write something up, Eric.
But yours is great. I mean, everything is great right now. I wondered if maybe you could cover the plumbing and the roof as you heard it, just so people are aware of those two big items.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
And Scott, the heat tapes, I don't think anybody could figure out. That's what Tim was talking about from what I heard. And the plumbing stacks and the roofing. Yeah, I think if those items could be covered again briefly, that would help.
All right. Might need your help here, brother.
I'll tapes.
You want to take it? That's one thing I'm not as clear on.
What he said was, I believe down in Pinecone, Gamble Oak, they have heat tapes running under the building to help keep the pipes from freezing. The way it was before, the electrical connections, they would plug and unplug the heat tapes and the sprinkler systems. They plug them in during the winter for the heat tape, and then in the spring they'd unplug those and plug in sprinkler systems. And what they've done now is they put in breaker systems, put in breaker boxes, and rather than plugging and unplugging, they're just flipping breakers on.
Yeah, and right now those are also, they were unprotected circuits before. Now they're protected circuits, because what happens is on the heat tapes, those things can overheat, and they're not fused or otherwise, if there's an overcurrent situation, they can heat up, cause a fire. And so that's being taken care of now as well. So it's a safer and better setup than it was before.
Yeah. All right. And then on the roof issue, basically what he explained is we're spending about $850, I think he said, every time we have to go in and remove the icicles. So his comment was he's going back and looking back at the bids for the roofing to make sure that we include the tape or something to minimize that in the future when we replace the roof. The roof is scheduled to be replaced, I think, in 23 or 24. He is going to go back and look at the bids that we've gotten so far, largely as a result, Eric, of the comment you made about the commercial roof you're trying to replace. He wants to go back and look at the bids and maybe have them rebid. Obviously, because of the COVID issue and because of the supply chain issues, likely we're going to have to wait to get a good snapshot of costs until after the supply chain issues are dealt with. And then on the plumbing, as everybody, I know we brought it up in the last board meeting. We've got 40-year-old pipes, and we know we're going to have to do something to replace them or to modify them in such a way because we're having a lot of failures. we talked in, I don't remember, I think it was in September about this, and tasked Tim with trying to experiment and find a way that we could start possibly replacing. So he had identified a stack in the lodge. The plan was to replace that stack, but it would have created a lot of disruption. Owners would have had to be moved out of units. Rentals would have had to be stopped for a period of time during that period. And when he got through the full analysis of it, it was going to be like $100,000 to do a single stack. So he went back and started looking at other solutions, and he came up with a solution that is he can access the tower from the top and use some kind of epoxy resin or epoxy liner to well, first clear those out, and then put that epoxy liner on it to I guess, lack of a better description, refresh the integrity of the pipe. That cost is about $20,000. So he is going to continue to research it, and possibly, and has recommended that that would be what he would suggest doing first, rather than the larger project. It would have no disruption to any owners, no disruption to any units. It would all be done in the tower itself, and likely would be a more beneficial solution for us from a cost perspective, as well as from a disruption perspective. So that was really the extent of those three items. I hope, does anybody have questions about that? Knowing that I can't answer anything really specific because Tim's not here.
Only that's good news.
Yeah.
The organization he was looking at is a company, I believe, out of Dallas. And
because we're known for our piping integrity.
People that don't know, in Oklahoma, Texas, what they do is they build a stem wall, then they put all the pipes in underneath, then they pour a cement slab. So once that's done, they had to come up with solutions rather than tearing up everybody's complete foundation. So it's been in place and in use for about 20 years down in the far south.
Scott, Rick, you're talking about this epoxy solution?
Yes.
Yeah, I was up there last week, and not this past week, but the week before, and I discussed this with Tim, and it sounds like a real good solution to me. The way he described it was, it's a material that's liquid, and it's put into the pipe. The pipes are first cleaned out, reamed out. All the rust is, and scale that's in there that creates a lot of the problems with clogging is removed. And then the epoxy is put in, it's shot in there, and then like a mechanical rotating paintbrush, if you will, goes in, and it spreads the epoxy into the pipe and coats it, kind of like Pepto-Bismol on your stomach lining, and then that cures, and that extends the life of the cast iron pipe. I didn't get any numbers on that, but I guess it's pretty extensive. I guess it's pretty good.
Okay, any other questions? I don't understand Terrence's comment. There are three.
No, there are three. There were three chat things at the time. I think all of this has been answered now. Oh, there are three vehicles. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a question about the vehicles.
Yeah, there's two Nissan
Rogues and one pickup truck.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments?
Just one other quick observation, Scott. You said you were going to go out and look at the signage. For my 2 cents, I would prefer a higher class looking sign than a low class. Good luck with that.
That's why I want to go look at it. So when I drove in the Uber, I was like, yeah, that doesn't look very good.
I'm just telling you, an extra $5,000 at this point. I'd rather it look good than not look not so good.
Well, there's an argument that it should be consistent with the stuff that Glacier's put into. So.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? All right. I screw this up every time. I don't adjourn this meeting, do I?
No.
Okay.
You recess the meeting.
We're going to recess the meeting, move into executive session. Like I said, I've got a hard stop at 11, so we're going to spend about 45 minutes in executive session. I don't believe there's anything that we will need to vote on when we come back from executive session. So likely we'll just adjourn after the executive session. So thanks everyone for joining. Board, if you'll stay on.
No, they're going to have to go to meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go to meeting. If you have the link, Boyd, you're still on the phone. So thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate the comments and questions.
Scott, you might want to mention that you will re-adjourn, you will rejoin the meeting, but only to adjourn it officially.
Yeah, I
thought that's what you said.
I thought that's what I said, but
okay, never mind.
You just said it for me, so.
Yeah.
So you want to go to meeting?
Yep.
Get the speakers. Okay, we just got out of executive session. It is 10:41. We didn't have anything to vote on, so we are adjourning the meeting at 10:41. And we got concurrence from the whole of the board. So I'm making a motion that we adjourn.
I will second the motion.
And the rest of the board told us that we have their proxy, so we are adjourning the meeting.